You know, I'm looking at No Tomorrow's schedule. They had Team Freedom when they came back from break, but since then they are playing either the top teams or the hottest teams in North America. They've gone up against Team Freedom, they've gone up against Gale Force, they've gone up against Team 12. Now they're here against Heroes Hearth. I mean, they are literally coming out playing the toughest that we have in North America. It's kind of interesting because now we're looking at North America 1 through 5, and obviously that's much closer than I think we've seen in a long time. So they have their work cut out for them, to say the least.
It's been a tall task here for No Tomorrow, but I'm remaining hopeful. And they start on the small map. Got to be asking ourselves, you know, with Equinox moving off to the side role, typically he's been more on that kind of assassin-esque heroes, and that's what we know him in the offlane. When he was playing meta-wise, that's what was relevant. So it's kind of how much are they willing to implement in towards those things that are off of the things like the Sonyas and the Zeratos and more onto those Blazes, the Arthuses, the Leos.
Hanzo let through here. Now, Heroes Hearth has an opportunity to kind of go through some stuff. When we talked to them at the end of their series, we talked to McIntyre, he said they don't necessarily have to experiment going forward against a team where they are favored. So I still think there's going to be some minor experimentation, but I do caution to the same point when I was highlighting this series is Heroes Hearth, just winning this series, it's more than that. It's the win-loss record. And when you look at potential stands, if you are shooting for that #1 spot, you have to consider, okay, we need to 3-0. That has got to be your mentality for every series going forward, because eventually you will be playing against Tempo Storm. And if you can get that series win, something else happens to Tempo along the way, it will come down to that match score. On the side of No Tomorrow, they're taking that Hanzo. They're going to pair it with the Tassadar.
Pair it with the Tassadar, and honestly, that's a little bit higher than what we have seen recently in the Tassadar role, but I personally really enjoy it. The Tassadar pickup, just because already you see the Maiev, which you've got to be considering the kill potential with the 4. Tassadar is a great counterintuitive, or kind of counter to that, soft counter into that for the survivability of the Hanzo with the Tassadar shields, but then the wave clear to make up for the lack of wave clear that she has. It's a good response. One of the few moments where I look at that and I go, hey, you know, I don't mind this coming out from No Tomorrow. It's just a start, though. By no means, you know, does that give them a major upper hand, but it's a pretty creative adjustment from them.
Heroes Hearth, obviously, you know, we saw the priority on Jaina when they didn't have the Hanzo. I don't mind Jaina here, but I really wonder, for the sake of their future, what else do you got? Obviously, Greymane's that old fallback option. They stay with the Jaina, pair it with the Malfurion, make sure you get that innervate. So they have the wave clear, they have the setup potential with Malfurion, or Maiev. You have the follow-up routes with Malfurion, so there's a lot you can kind of play around with that tank-wise. You mentioned the Johanna potentially there to kind of combo with that Maiev. That is dependent on whether Heroes Hearth bans that out against No Tomorrow.
But Jaina and the pickup there with that assassin that you were wondering, you know, are we still going to see that? Are we going to see something else from Crowan? That plays into the playstyle of the Hanzo Tassadar, that Tassadar pickup that actually caters to the counter soft playstyle. So No Tomorrow's got to feel even more thankful to see that pickup from Heroes. So that being said, if this is really cool because Tassadar forces a very unique offlaner. Not unique in the sense that it's got to be off meta, but there's very few that can function with him where you end up compositionally without that double support, double warrior where you don't feel like you're damageless, especially with having solo Hanzo on a map like that isn't Battlefield of Eternity where you get so much out of the race where you maybe justify it like we see Heroes Hearth move into. So it's going to be pretty interesting on the amount of pressure that puts towards that top lane, but the Jaina can gank towards that top half of the map. So it's essentially going, hey, you want to pick an assassin for this Tassadar to make sure you don't lack damage. But if you pick that Tassadar, Jaina's kill potential in the top lane drastically increases. She becomes so much more problematic. So it's, I'm not saying it's going to inevitably come to light, but it's a pretty cool intricacy that's kind of happening here with this draft.
It's going to be fun to watch. We saw the Tyrael ban on the side of No Tomorrow. Maybe says that we're willing to go into a Garrosh. The Diablo obviously is something that Heroes Hearth is very familiar with when playing that Tassadar. Use that Force Wall, get that Shadow Charge into that. So Tyrael obviously having that mobility, not going to be there. Let's see if No Tomorrow does commit to the Garrosh there to try and get that set up. So without Diablo, the initiation's a little bit different. But again, if you're on the side of Heroes Hearth, Johanna seems like a very safe pick because you already have that initiation probability from Maiev. See if that plays out.
Still coming in with the Sonya there for Equinox, and the Johanna is in fact the pickup. I like the Johanna pickup a lot more, actually. I'll be completely honest for No Tomorrow. I think that their composition needs to play this very slow playstyle once you commit to the Tassadar. Granted, the Tas Jojo does suffer from that do you have enough DPS, and that's where that Sonya comes in, right? But Sonya is one of the only ones that falls under the parameter of surviving the Jaina, or at least better, but then also still having enough damage, synergizing with the Tassadar to not be a problem. That in mind, it's not like Heroes Hearth couldn't assume that. Sonya has been one of the go-tos for Equinox in the off lane, and it's been kind of, you know, when you see a Tassadar, Sonya behind it, it's not too surprising.
Garrosh still available, but is it needed, I think is the question. You have the Maiev, you have Jaina. Maev's normally the one diving in. Garrosh is normally the one tossing them backwards. You can get a lot of control, but Johanna, Tassadar, they both have different ways of escaping. Hanzo very far back. Sonya's okay being on the front line. So does it require a different style of lockdown here for Heroes Heart?
I personally still like the Garrosh a lot. They go with the stitches. They're going to mix it up. I don't think it's necessary by any means, but I do like it still a lot. The kill potential that it provides, it does fall a little bit too much in the, are we banking on the, especially with the Johanna and the Tassadar picked up, like, are you going to get that, right? Because that was my first thing when I say, oh, this Tassadar is really cool, but then, oh, this Jaina is picking into that as well. So with the Garrosh, even more so into that. That in mind, it's not like Stitches solves that problem. And that's where I have kind of some of my, a couple of, you know, qualms with it.
It depends on the rotation of Maiev. I saw this, I think, once at the Western Clash. It was really fun to watch because Maiev hits you with the tether. Johanna uses that iron skin to walk away. Stitch is like, oh, you think you're safe, huh? The minute that unstoppable wears off, he hits you with another hook, brings you back in. And if you can get those roots and that Jaina combo there, maybe get that blow up on the front line. We'll see if that does come out. Obviously, that doesn't happen a lot, but all it takes is one pick a time or two. Support-wise for No Tomorrow, you know, we've seen a mixed bag, I think, here from Tomster.
I wouldn't mind the Rhaegar. Yeah. End up going the Rhaegar. Just mainly whenever you have two support bars that can get a lot of value out of the Ancestral Healing, and then Tassadar really makes up for the only weakness that you have as a Rhaegar most of the time with that immediate one-shot burst before the Ancestral makes it off. Provides with the wave clear, soft synergy with Johanna, having the opportunity to put the Lightning Bond, or not Lightning Bond, Lightning Shield.
Ooh, you missed
Rip
that Lightning Bond.
Ooh, yeah. Man, everybody misses that one. When Rhaegar has better wave clear than every ranged assassin in the game. Lightning Bond, starting at level 1.
You know, Stitches obviously brings a different dynamic. You know, this is the first game, I think, without a Garrosh interaction. His involvement rate has been incredibly high for quite some time. But the Stitches there, obviously, you're trying to get the hook into the roots, and it really does kind of get on that follow-up. But again, I think adding the Maiev, making sure that you get that extra, that pull in, trying to combo off of that, it's very difficult, very frustrating to deal with. But I don't think it's unstoppable, and compositionally, again, the Johanna able to walk away, Tassadar, Hanzo able to kind of evade as well. Your thoughts?
I agree. I agree. I don't look at the Stitches as a major problem. You brought up the, you know, kind of the adjustment and what we can likely see out of it. I expect Heroes Hearth to still be controlling. The one thing I want to pose is I want to see how much attention towards the top lane we see Heroes Hearth give, because they have a lot of, hey, this doesn't look that good. No Tomorrow, you're going to commit too many resources to survive the 1v1, and then suddenly, and there's a dead Sonya in the top lane. She even went Warpaint, so probably even more vulnerable.
See how it plays out as we've got No Tomorrow here on the left in blue, as it is going to be Casanova on the Tassadar, which means Tomster's going to be on Rhaegar. We'll see Equinox on to that Sonya one more time. Big part of their game plan last week. Jay Shrite going to be on the Hanzo. Jen, of course, the new player, the opportunity here. Johanna is going to round it out here for No Tomorrow.
In the red, HeroesHearth Esports on a bit of a tear as of late, with a lot of momentum sitting behind them. BBJ playing the Malfurion. We got Ishbu on that front line, repping the Stitches. Next up is McIntyre in the off lane, playing Dahaka. Arthalon on his Maiev, as always, and you know Jaina, played by Crowan.
There's the wave clear that, of course, Jaina brings to everything, kind of controls these rotations. But there's a hook in. Shrite, he's going to get out of there. But you look on the other side, Johanna plus a Tassadar Psystorm, obviously going to work out really well. We also see Hanzo going to be going into, wait a minute here.
Casanova, he gets tethered. He might be going down here. He's going to get tethered. Arthalon gets a lot of damage. A lot of pressure put onto Crowan as well. Bit of miscommunication on the kill targets. Hook's going to land onto Jay Shrite. Second one of the game. Natural agility gets him out. Blizzard going down. But Arthalon got to track down with that shadow, gets the follow-up. Actually not going to commit there. Even throws out the Wave of Force. Or Wave of Force, man. Fan of Knives. What? Hello, Li Ming? Who are you?
I mean, I'll take it. If I can get that at level 1, I'm all day on that hero. But either way, Crowan, he kind of reinitiated there. And we've seen threading the needle so far. Ishbu's landed some really good hooks so far. And if you're No Tomorrow, you got to be careful of that going forward. I think that's always going to be the name of the game, but to have that success this early, that's scary.
Yeah, and so already HeroesHearth is struggling within the laning situation, right? Okay, maybe it's unfair to say struggling, but they're losing. They're reactionary over the laning situation in the bottom half. This is where they meet up in mid, and ideally, unless they either cater heavily towards bottom or they look for that kill potential on that top half of the map. That is exactly where I'd like to see them make that happen. A lot of that is always going to be Jaina and Stitches. Those have to be the two making that transition. Also, want to highlight, out of the two hooks we've seen, only one has had a Malfru behind it. And though we haven't, I don't believe, seen the synergy out of BBJ and, you know, kind of Ishbu with the Stitches mouth and the kind of synergy needed there. But Malfurion is one of the harder follow-ups to Stitches if you haven't kind of done it before. And I would argue, you know, BBJ still kind of youthful in the support role. There's a lot relying on him making sure he gets perfect, pixel-perfect roots in this game. So got to be keeping an eye on that. It is a DK.
Oh,
no.
Sonya just in time up at the top lane. Maybe Tassadar got a side storm down middle. Obviously, there was a lot going on there. There's another hook onto Shrite. Natural agility going to be over. Tomster coming in for support, but Arthlon going to pull him back in as that tether does help confirm the kill. That's going to give us first blood. Rhaegar going to get rooted there, but another hook onto Hanzo.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking 3 in under 3 minutes. That's definitely not okay. You know, normally I would say, I mean, it's definitely okay when it comes to like a play level, but when it comes to success to be able to hold your own in this game, it's definitely going to hurt No Tomorrow. They've committed a lot towards, I mean, let me rephrase this. They've committed everything towards Hanzo within the 4. Like, he is a lot of their damage. He is their damage from beginning to end. So whenever you lose that, it's a major setback for No Tomorrow.
Well, you mentioned the Hanzo, and obviously that's a focus for Heroes Hearth. They know how effective Hanzo can be. You know, this is actually a different build. We're seeing that extra range at level 1 on that Ice Lance for Jaina. So definitely a change up in the build to try and stay on there. Ishbu's holding point to see if they can maybe get that as McIntyre's come in. Nobody on the channel just yet, but Tomster Dreadnought
ends up going down there, having to juke 3 major skill shots, but from the drag number 1, hook number 2, Ice Lance number 3. Not enough to be able to dodge the Cone of Cold, and the slow is enough for Crowan to set up another kill. We see Jin move up, drop the Iron Skin. That's a cooldown that you know the members of Heroes Hearth are closely keeping track of. Also notice in the downtime, Arthlon suddenly is putting a lot more pressure towards the top half of the map. I really would like to see that paired with Crowan. I'll bring that up over and over again. I feel like that this is expected for Heroes Hearth to struggle over the wave clear avenue, but look for the kill potential. When it fails, put the pressure towards top, but it's with the Jaina Maiev that has higher kill potential. Honestly, I would argue sending Jaina there would be better than just the Maiev on its own.
I think, you know, it's sometimes hard to kind of imagine that until you see it. And I think that you're 100% correct in that if that does happen, the amount that it opens up on the map, it creates so many more opportunities for Heroes Hearth. They haven't quite committed to it just yet. But they do have control of the channel. Stitches is holding on to the bottom. See if he actually makes it out of there alive or whether he is a sacrifice.
Oh, McIntyre coming in for that kind of alley-oop synergy there. Cleanse coming out from Tomster, able to make sure Jay Shrite is just fine. BBJ looking to join in. Does he throw down the root? Iron Skin might be just off cooldown. It is. He's going to make it out just fine. Jin's comfortable here, but Jaina doing a lot of work over that mid-fort front wall.
Doing work so far. Things working out in favor of Heroes Hearth, getting those 2 early kills, now starting to open up the map in their favor. You know, we also saw that, this is something we've brought up a few times, McIntyre going into that extra speed at level 1, so making sure that he can set up some of those kills and get in and out of danger, which he did down at that bottom lane to help Ishbu stay alive on that Stitches. So definitely a change up here. McIntyre going a little bit more traditional style instead of that new school in a meta.
Ishbu joined this Dragon Knight towards the bottom half of the map. A full level, almost a level and a half advantage here for Heroes Hearth. 8 seconds left on the DK. Casanova looked to join in. Quickly going to get kind of punted away. Hook out, not going to connect anything. Great root by BBJ that was properly placed.
That's the whole thing, is there's that initial route, and you talked about having that communication there. Heroes Hearth, it's something they've excelled at, is the miniature combos. This is the thing. Sometimes we see the big wombo combos, which Heroes Hearth can definitely pull off. But their basic ability combos are always there. They always have drafts that are synergistic in their basic abilities. I think earlier in the year when they were going into Zeratul and a few other things, they would try and hit the big-time plays with the heroics going into a lot of all-in, and that was normally their downfall. They've adapted their drafts, obviously with the help of Koth and Luck over there, who they've accredited for a lot of their success this year. Definitely so. They've kept a lot of good eyes on their draft, adapted a lot, and that's, I think, a big part of their success here going forward.
Double camp pressure on the bottom half of the map here for Heroes Hearth. Jay Shrite is going to be going down. There's no way he survives this. Cleanse coming out, yeah, just way too far out of position here for No Tomorrow. That wasn't just Jay Shrite, that was just No Tomorrow. The fact that they were even defending that fort, Heroes Hearth was like, double camp plus 10s. We're going to die past this very, very quickly. End up getting the execution there. Jay Shrite falling for a couple more seconds. This is going to be a key front wall, or at least a minimal like turret plus probably the front wall. I would take the whole thing. I don't think there's any reason to back out. Hanzo will be up. 10s will be here, so maybe a Dragon's Arrow is a big enough deterrent for them to want to aggress any farther. Ancestral Force there. Still not going to pull the trigger on the Dragon's Arrow if they want this.
See if they get it. Shrite moving forward, but it looks like they're willing to just kind of sacrifice, walk away. Of course, Dahaka could always join the fray. Ooh.
That's one thing to keep in mind. Yeah, Arthlon's doing this in North America on Maiev, and I haven't seen anybody else do it to the same level that he is, with essentially assuming the, okay, well, if you're going to get the optimal situation, how can I make your engage really, really bad? He's actually using oftentimes the shadow as a counter momentum with this tether. So he's stopping your opening initiation, and that's another situation where he goes, okay, if you want to do that, I am going to all-in Warden's Cage this. And even though he probably would go down, the trade would be profitable still for HeroesHearth. Honestly, Arthlon has been, in my opinion, probably the best Maiev that we have so far. He really has made a lot of major plays for the team, and it's even crazier considering, you know, he's making that transfer from, you know, kind of the macro plays like on the Junkrat, and then still on these assassins like that of the Maiev.
Well, that was a big part for me, is that we needed somebody else to be the playmaker, somebody else to kind of take the load off of Crowan, and the fact that they were willing to forego the Hanzo pick to pick up the big-time playmaker in the Maiev speaks to the dynamic that they know HeroesHearth has. They're trying to prove, look, we're not a one-trick Hanzo. We know that we're 17-0 with it, but that's not all that we are, and a lot of it is that Arthlon play, so definitely a big time there. Crowan dropping down, the Water Elemental. Ooh, are they willing to commit for it?
Oh, but Arth with the vault. The Dragon Arrow gets the kill. Jay Shrite there saying, you know, I'm not going to take the bait this time, but there's a lot of pressure up on mid. Going to get enough kills there, or enough damage out to get the kill on Tassadar. 1-for-1 between the two, but a collapse. Oh, BBJ, tread lightly. He's revealed, and good night, my friend. Oh,
Twilight Dream goes off. I don't know if I was going to say, I don't know if he had Ice Block. He does. They're going to get the punt over. Shrite just going to miss out on taking the fourth there. Somehow, BBJ stays alive. The Ancestor going on to Gem, but Tomster says not much longer. Equinox, however, they're going to be another trade out here as HeroesHearth continuing to just assault that. The tongue's going to miss. Tomster with the jukes.
Jin has no mana. I don't know if he's got enough for an Iron Skin. He does. Iron Skin, 3, 2, 1. Expect the drag now. It's not enough cooldown for McIntyre, apparently. I thought for sure that would have been enough.
Nope. Okay.
Well, yeah, HeroesHearth here. Just going to siege up the fort, take it for free now. And at this point, almost 2-level lead. I expect them to paint the double camp pressure on the bottom half of the map again.
Bless Shield goes out there. The assault going in, but the boot out. Now all of a sudden, Jen forced to use that Iron Skin again. Putrid Bile was out, but Bless Shield used there. I don't know where the initiation would have come in behind that Dreadnought.
I mean, maybe the Dragon's Arrow. Oh, talking about. Arth, not only did it not connect, he had the option to still hit the vault.
He's like,
that second one was an actual dodge. That B-step was well worth.
Yeah.
But that first one, Arthlon,
that
vault wasn't on time. You would have gotten hit, mate.
Yeah. Well, we see a little bit of an invade. No 13 yet. Here comes Arthlon. See if he can hit the tether. He does pull it on there. Equinox already in, but Jen turning around there on the Johanna. Remember, no Bless Shield, but on the backside.
That was clean.
Corona McIntyre. Oh, Jen.
Isolation, not going to connect, but Arthlon goes in with that tether, gets it, 2 kills for nothing. What I was saying was clean, was just Crowan identified that Rhaegar was way out of position, didn't open him up with the rook because he's not at that point, drops the IAC Veins. McIntyre comes in, and already you see the slow on top of the Rhaegar, you go, yeah, that's a free kill, no self-ancestral, sadly. And puts you in a position to where it's just a one-shot, one kill, capitalizing on the missed position there of Tomster. And it's going to net HeroesHearth Esports not only 16-tier advantage, but this bottom keep.
Things definitely going in favor. We see Casanova. Let's see if we get the re-engage here as Equinox is going all in. But Arthlon is like, come on, let's go. We've got a Warden's Cage. They're bringing out the fight. Twilight Dream's going to hit multiple people. Dragon's Arrow does hit, but not before 2 members fall. Bless Shield goes out. Shield Glare, but it's not enough to confirm a kill yet. There's a flank from Shrite, but he's got to tread lightly, Dread. 3 members on the side of No Tomorrow are already down.
Yeah, and he is not going to be able to make the plays from over there. Ishbu now moves up well. He's going to go ahead and try and get the auto attack slow, pull back there onto Equinox, and that is all she wrote for him. Jay Shrite is the last man standing here for No Tomorrow, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold this off. HeroesHearth Esports, 11-2 in kills. He's going to be able to claim game number 1 on Dragonshire for themselves, and under 11.5.
I mean, I said that they have really good synergy and combos with just their basic abilities, but when it comes time for heroics, they know how to pull that trigger too. HeroesHearth, wow.
You saw it in the last fight, exactly what I was talking about. Arthlon will, if you are looking to be in a position to set up that fight, and he goes, yeah, this is probably going to be bad for us. He will immediately look for how can I use this Warden's Cage in the tether to get the momentum against it. And even if he doesn't win the trade, he knows I probably would have been died anyways, right? So it's like, can I get that team to get the turnaround? And yes, we have teams that identify that and make that play, but on the Maiev in particular, he's done this over and over and over again, where you see shadow after shadow being thrown with a, oh, I dare you. Like, make that play because I will turn this around very quickly.
How scary is it if you're no Tomorrow, you have to decide, look, we would really like map pick, but we're afraid to give up first pick because that's what just happened. And they played around that Medivh Maiev. Which one are you willing to give up? We don't need the Hanzo. We're going to pick one of the OP heroes, Maiev, Medivh. Now, if you're on the side of no Tomorrow, are you willing to give up that map pick so that you can try and play around that advantage, maybe pick up Medivh Maiev for yourself? But then you potentially risk giving up the Hanzo. It's this weird mind game. And for no Tomorrow, I feel like it is a very difficult decision because of the diversity of Heroes Hearth and what they're able to do in their draft.
In a completely, you know, kind of vacuum type situation, what I would suggest for no Tomorrow in this type of situation is if you consider yourself the underdog, right, and you have this double OP where you're like, oh, the first pick slot, can't win that, but do I want to go to the second pick? It's in your best interest to go with the second pick, but then choose a map where that hero of that high value, one of the two, significantly less than the other. Prioritize banning out the one. If you give up the other, it's in theory, right, draft theory, that it's not going to be worth the commitment that is the first pick, and that you get enough afterwards out of that point to, you know, where you've limited them enough. It does feel like, you know, is that enough resources to be able to take out HeroesHearth Esports? I don't really know, but that to me seems like if they're going to get that kind of dream situation, that's the place it's going to happen. We'll look at where we're going for battleground number 2 and figure out if maybe that's kind of what we see there. Medivh doesn't have too many maps that he kind of chokes out.